Welcome back to Not Theoretical. I'm Lena.
And I'm Dan. Here on Not Theoretical, we're all about taking those big, sometimes complex ideas and distilling them into practical, real-world steps. Our goal is to help you turn insight into lasting action.
Have you ever looked around and thought, why do some people seem to walk away with all the rewards while others carry all the risks? Today, we're unpacking 5 powerful concepts that explain why that happens, and what you can do to better navigate those power dynamics in your own life.
These ideas are especially useful if you've ever felt burned by bad advice, frustrated by unfair decisions, or just curious about why certain systems seem rigged. We're talking about trust, wealth, power, and how seemingly small imbalances can shape entire systems. Let's start with something we've all dealt with: getting bad advice from someone who wasn't fully upfront.
Yep. Like buying a car and finding out later the seller knew it needed major repairs. It's not just annoying, it's unfair, because they had information you didn't.
That's the heart of what's called information asymmetry. When one side knows way more than the other, and especially when they benefit from keeping that gap, it warps the trust dynamic.
Think of it like buying a treasure map that someone already knows leads nowhere. If they don't tell you that, they're not just being optimistic. They're using your ignorance for their gain.
And that's why it's smart to ask follow-up questions. What's in it for them? Who else can give a second opinion? And maybe most importantly, do they seem transparent about the downsides?
Now here's a twist. Sometimes the smallest group ends up steering the ship.
This blew my mind. It's called the minority rule. Basically, if a small group is inflexible and everyone else is flexible, the group that won't budge usually gets their way.
It's not just theory. Think about how many menus now cater to strict dietary needs: vegan, gluten-free, kosher. It's often easier for the majority to adapt than to exclude a few people.
And that's not necessarily bad. It can lead to better standards or inclusivity. But it also explains how strong convictions, even from a small group, can shape the direction of an entire community or company. Here's one that gets real personal. How do we decide who's competent? Is it based on real skill or just looking the part?
I mean, we all fall for it sometimes. The confident talker in the sharp suit just feels like a leader, even if they haven't actually done anything impressive.
But when the stakes are high, like picking a surgeon, you suddenly care way more about results than charisma.
That's the key. When there's real consequence, competence wins. When there isn't, image often takes over. It's a reminder to always ask, who feels the fallout if this goes wrong? Let's talk about why we admire some rich people and side-eye others.
The difference? Risk. We tend to respect people who've put their own skin in the game, like entrepreneurs who bet everything on an idea.
But when someone gets paid millions regardless of outcome, it feels different. It's not envy. It's a sense that the reward doesn't match the personal risk.
That's why we cheer for the underdog who hustled and question the executive who profits no matter what. It's all about perceived fairness and stakes. And finally, let's talk about how wealth can actually dull your judgment.
Sounds strange, right? But if a loss doesn't hurt, you stop being careful. You're more likely to buy the overpriced thing just because someone told you it's exclusive.
It's like playing a game with unlimited tokens. You stop paying attention to each move. That lack of personal consequence makes it easier to get swayed by slick marketing.
So no matter your income, it's helpful to set personal care thresholds. Even small purchases deserve scrutiny if you want to stay grounded. So what ties all this together?
It's all about consequences. Who has skin in the game? Who bears the cost of a decision and who just walks away unscathed?
When we ask those questions, we see through the surface. We make better decisions, and we hold people to a higher standard of fairness.
Want to go deeper on this? Head over to the Not Theoretical Substack. We've got a visual summary of these 5 ideas, plus more examples and actions you can take.
And don't miss next week's episode. Did you know your brain might be aging faster than your body? We're diving into 5 powerful ways to slow cognitive decline, including some blood test insights most people have never even heard of. That's our discussion for today. Thanks for tuning in to Not Theoretical.
Until next time, question who's really holding the cards.